It started with a feeling, a prickling sensation on the back of my neck whenever I stepped into my apartment. The kind of unease you brush off at first, convincing yourself it's nothing. Stress, maybe. Overwork. Lack of sleep. But the feeling grew, creeping into my life like a shadow, lingering in corners where it didn't belong. At first, it was easy to ignore. I was too busy to care. Work had been exhausting, my social life non-existent. Who wouldn't feel off-kilter after months of grinding and solitude? But then I started noticing the small things. A glass moved from the kitchen counter to the sink. My bedroom window left slightly ajar when I was sure I'd closed it. The faint, cloying scent of lavender and cigarettes that seemed to cling to my furniture, something I never used. I tried to laugh it off. I'm just being paranoid, I told myself. Everyone forgets things. The real terror began with the notes. The first one was on a sticky note, bright yellow and impossible to miss, stuck to my fridge. Asterisk, nice blue shirt today. Asterisk. My stomach twisted. I'd worn a blue shirt to work that day. My first instinct was to think of co-workers, some weird prank, maybe. Someone had followed me home as a joke. It wasn't funny, but it was plausible. I crumpled the note and tossed it in the trash, deciding not to feed the fear. But that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching me. My apartment felt smaller, darker. I sat on the couch with all the lights on, jumping at every creak and groan the old building made. By morning, I convinced myself it was a one-time thing. Then came the second note. Asterisk. You shouldn't ignore me. Asterisk. This one was on the bathroom mirror, written in the same neat handwriting as the first. My blood ran cold. My apartment was locked. I checked twice before bed. Someone had to be coming in while I was at work. I called the building manager, who promised to change the locks. Probably just some bored teenagers, he said with a chuckle. You'd be surprised how easy it is to pick these old locks. His nonchalance only fueled my unease. I worked from home the next day, and nothing happened. For a moment, I thought maybe I'd imagined it. Maybe the notes were my own doing, some bizarre symptom of burnout. But on the third night, I found another note stuck to the inside of my bedroom window. Asterisk, stop locking the windows. I don't like it. Asterisk. I locked every door and window in my apartment, then shoved a chair under the doorknob for good measure. Sleep was impossible. Every sound, every shadow felt like a threat. Around 3 a.m., I thought I heard faint footsteps in the hallway outside my apartment. I held my breath, clutching the kitchen knife I'd taken to keeping under my pillow. But no one came. The next morning, I bought a security camera and installed it facing the front door. I thought I'd feel safer knowing it was there. I didn't. The camera didn't capture the moment when the next note appeared. Asterisk. You hum in your sleep. It's cute. Asterisk. This time, I didn't try to rationalize. I called the police. An officer came to my apartment, took down my story, and did a cursory check of the place. No signs of forced entry, he said, as if that explained everything. He advised me to stay somewhere else for a few days. I booked a hotel and stayed there for a week. The first few nights, I slept like the dead, finally free of the suffocating fear that had gripped me in my own home. But the peace didn't last. One morning, I woke to find a note on the nightstand beside my hotel bed. Asterisk. You can't hide forever. Asterisk. I packed my bags and left within the hour, too shaken to even speak to the hotel staff. When I returned to my apartment, I found the security camera smashed, its wires dangling uselessly. The police didn't bother coming this time. We can't help if there's no evidence of a crime, they told me. That night, I heard the sound for the first time. It started as a faint whisper, barely audible over the hum of my fridge, a scratching, rustling noise, like something moving inside the walls. I followed it to the living room, my heart pounding in my chest. Pressing my ear to the wall, I heard it clearly, breathing. Slow, measured breathing. I stumbled back, nearly tripping over my own feet. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911, but by the time the operator picked up, the sound had stopped. The police came again. Again, they found nothing. Mice, maybe, the officer said. Happens in these old buildings. I wanted to scream at him, to grab him by the shoulders and make him listen. Instead, I nodded, hollow and defeated. But that night, I decided to stay awake. I sat in the living room, knife in hand, forcing myself to stay alert. Around midnight, I heard it again, the whispering, scratching sound. It was coming from the bedroom. I crept to the doorway, my pulse a deafening roar in my ears. The closet door was ajar, just a crack, but enough to see the faint outline of someone inside. "Who's there?" I croaked, my voice trembling. The door swung open, and he stepped out, a man lanky and stooped, with greasy hair and sunken eyes that gleamed in the darkness. His lips curled into a smile, revealing yellowed teeth. "You didn't eat the pizza," he said. "I don't remember screaming. I don't remember running." Somehow, I ended up outside, banging on my neighbor's door, sobbing incoherently. They called the police, who arrived minutes later to search my apartment. The man was gone, but they found where he'd been hiding. Behind my living room wall was a crawl space, accessible through a panel I hadn't even known existed. Inside, they found a sleeping bag, empty food containers, and dozens of photographs of me, sleeping, eating, working on my laptop. Some of the pictures were weeks old. There were also notebooks, pages filled with obsessively detailed notes about my daily routines. What time I left for work. What I ate for dinner. Who I talked to on the phone. The police never found him. I moved out the next day, but no matter where I go, I can't escape the feeling that he's still watching. Sometimes I wake up to faint scratching sounds or catch the scent of lavender and cigarettes. And every now and then, I find a sticky note. Asterisk, miss me yet? Asterisk,